what it was. Y'all know who it is. And y'all tuned in with Priceless Knowledge of Self. And this right here, this ain't nothing but some cosmic insight, man. And hey, I hope everybody fortified is zoned in, because shit gonna get real today. It's gonna get real deep. It's gonna get real nasty. It might even get real dark. That's because this right here, this a little something about those people that have Mars in the 8th house of their natal chart. Yeah. And see, before we actually go there, if you don't know my style, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tell you a little bit about Mars. I'm going to give y'all a little information on the energy that comes along with it and how it might affect you. Then after that, I'm going to give y'all a quick breakdown of what the 8th house of the astrological chart is actually all about. And then after that, we're going to bring it to a climax, which, fortunately for you, that's my forte. So, without wasting any more time, let's get it cracking. So, Mars. This is the 4th planet from the sun. It rules the 1st house in the sign of Aries, and to a lesser degree, it rules the 8th house in the sign of Scorpio. And, hey, Mars most definitely comes into our chart and calls us to action. And that's because it rules over passion, energy, drive, and our inherent sense of determination. Yeah, man. It really commands us to stand up, be noticed, and get some shit done. Because standing on the sidelines, that wallflower energy, that belongs somewhere else in the zodiac player. Oh yeah, best believe, man. Mars also rules over the military, but more simply put, it speaks to the powerful, confident expression of each one of us individually. Ambition and competition, they both come under Mars' umbrella too. And whether it be at work or whether it be at play, Mars really wants us to be at our best when facing challenges. Hey, this is confrontational energy. Best believe, man. Man, it's all about our sense of aggression, as well as our sense of addressing aggression when it's brought our direction. Oh, yeah. And it can be a big indicator of sex drive, too, especially in men. And I think either way it goes, whether it be male or female, it speaks to how you like to get down. It's your preferred method of action. It's how you move. You know, it could be how you like to do it or how you like to be done. But that's how it goes, man. And also understand that wherever Mars shows up in the chart, you know, it really speaks to how we assert ourselves physically and channel our aggression in this lifetime too. And when we're talking about the house placement, this is the type of energy that we have. This is the type of Mars energy that we work with. You know what I'm saying? And when we talk about the house placement, this is where and how this energy plays out. Okay? So when we talk about the 8th house, the 8th house is ruled by, you know, Scorpio, and the planets are Pluto and Mars. And this is a mysterious sector that rules over birth and death and sex and transformation and mysteries and merged energies and bonding at the deepest level. Yeah. And it's also the house of other people's money and property. And traditionally, it's been called the house of sex, death, taxes, secrets, and power. And I might agree a little bit. There's some I might differentiate it with, but who am I to go against the traditionalists? You know, this is the home of the taboo. And, and fetish. And, you know, this is the place of hidden mysteries. And the biggest of those hidden mysteries is that final transformation that we all must go through, you know, death. Yeah. It's here that we find the deepest emotional wells and the secrets of the soul that unfold throughout a lifetime. And a big part of the reason, you know, that this is so feared is because of the power that it has to end our old way of being. Oh, that's the death that it brings with it, man. And, you know, the 8th really involves the soul level changes that we, you know, see during an existence. And, you know, the many deaths or transformations that, you know, we have are probably played out through whatever signs on the cusp and planetary placements that are here in the 8th, okay? And it's also all about compulsion and obsession and primal entanglements, you know. So in Latin, The orgasm is known as le petit mortit, or the little death. And that's because, it's in that moment that we see a surrender to the primal energies. And also in that moment, we are more than one body, so accordingly, that's why both sex and death are connected here in the ether of the 8th house. Okay. And there's so much more, but, you got the basic gist. So when we talking about putting Mars in the 8th house. Yeah. It's going to get sexy. Maybe even nasty. This is intense, man. That's what I'm going to tell you straight up, man. It's actually probably one of the most intense placements of all of them, for the simple fact that, hey, Mars is the traditional ruler of the 8th house along with Pluto. So it's extremely comfortable and greatly intensified no matter what sign it happens to be in right here. Understand that, man. Hey, this is passion personified. I mean that, man. And there are very few that have an inner drive as strong and intense as these folks right here. I'm telling you now. This is someone who's typically self-motivated and persistent and amazingly resourceful. They just know that when one door closes, another one gonna open up. They know it inherently, so they just keep digging and finding whatever they need within themselves, okay? They're intensely ambitious too. Don't get that twisted. And, with such a deep well of inner resources to go along with that, they really don't have anything other than self that could stop them from obtaining whatever the hell they want on this plane of existence. And to be honest, it's in my observations that most motherfuckers with this Mars right here in the 8th, man, they kind of like obsess over everything or anything that they want and don't stop at nothing until they get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they are going to get it. Or make it come to them. Oh, the methods. But let me also say that what an 8th house Mars for me does more than anything else is operate well in tough situations. Yeah. When life is at its darkest points and, it seems like all else is lost, these motherfuckers here are just barely getting started. Oh yeah, man. When the stakes are high and it's your only motherfucking shot, this is who you holler at right here. I'm telling you, man. Whoever said that when the going gets tough, then the tough gets going. Hey, man, they was talking about people with Mars in the 8th. They was talking about them, man. These people right here, they don't fold. And, whenever pressure is applied, that's when they do their best shit. And, it's because 9 times out of 12, they've seen it all before. They've seen it all before, so nothing shakes them, man. They've already survived the worst. So, sudden crisis, that's just another opportunity for growth for them. That's just what it is, man. And on another level, we gonna get here. Let me tell you that these here are some freaks. These some nasty, 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 nasty freaks. And they probably have the most powerful sex drive out of all the whole zodiac, man. And how they express that energy, that depends a lot more on the sign, okay? So that's what you need to look at. But I will say this though, sexuality is an extremely powerful force in these folks' lives right here, man. And you're not going to find a more intense inner desire nature than these folks right here, man. Nah. Mars in the 8th. Like I said before, man, this is passion personified. This is nastiness embodied. And they're going to take it to whatever level you want to take it to. And then deeper. Yeah. They trying to get to the bottom of the cup and stir that crazy up. But man, let's leave that alone and moving on. This placement is interesting because it can also manifest in some irrational fears and anxiety too, man. They don't trust anybody. And, even if they don't understand where the fuck that shit comes from, you know, a lot of them, you know, they still spend way too much time worried about some shit that they have no business tripping over or, you know, obsessing over, because that's really what they're doing, because, you know, it's something they can't control. And it's usually, you know, their obsession over somebody that ain't even remotely worried about them. That's what happens in a lot of this case, man. And it just ends up being senseless and dangerous in this case. And, you know, maybe it's because, you know, it's the shit that they're interested in and attracted to, because a lot of them are going to be really, really into the occult with, you know, with deep, dark things going on, possibly. Oh, yeah, they're going to be into that, man. They're going to be into the dark stuff. And, you know, seeing as the 8th is known as the gate to the underworld by some in astrology, you know, it's no surprise that 8th house Mars motherfuckers are so naturally fascinated by, you know, a lot of shit that most people would find, you know, too nasty, dark, vulgar, visceral, morbid, or horrifying, you know, for their own personal taste. Yeah, and hell, you know, some of this shit could even be a turn on for some of these motherfuckers, you know. For some of these folks, it's a turn on to bask in the abyss and thrive in the gutter. Yeah, it's just somebody who could thrive in the gutter. They're just, you know, built differently. Yeah, I said that. And the very things that terrify most, you know, don't bother them at all, man. They ain't scared of death either. So it's like, what the fuck else is there to fear beyond that? For real. That's deep. That's deep. And lastly, with that in mind, look, man, because of all this fire energy and all this impulsiveness, Mars right here, it brings conflict to and adversaries to whatever house it shows up to. And so, although this right here ain't guaranteed, I need you to know that, you know, I have seen that a lot of people with Mars in the 8th, they end up having some kind of near-death experience at some point in their life because, you know, they're so intense and so quick and impulsive that it can both cause conflicts and it can make a motherfucker real accident prone. And so, pardon me, all I can say with that is stay woke. Stay woke, man, because, and try to be as careful as possible, because that's dangerous. That's dangerous. And be warned that, you know, just like with Mars and Scorpio, man, these motherfuckers right here can get real controlling and obsessive and jealous if you're playing with their emotions. So, dangerously so. So, hey man, be mindful of who you fooling with, or you just might lose your life. And that's the realest thing you're going to hear from me in a long time. But hey, even if it don't play out like that, just because you built like that, you don't have to build like that. And what I mean by that is we all have all this energy available to us. What you do with it is what you do with it. And even beyond that, it ain't about what you do. It's about how you do it. And that's some priceless knowledge in itself. And there's been some priceless knowledge of self. Hey, if you done made it this far, you need to be hitting that like button. If you haven't hit the like button, you need to be hitting the dislike button. If you didn't like the video, hit the dislike button. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I need interaction with y'all, man. And that's out of love or hate, whatever it is you bring it to the table. But I need some interaction. YouTube is about interaction, man. Comment. Tell me how you feel. Tell me if I'm on point. Tell me if I'm not on point. Tell me if I get on your nerve. It'll be okay, because guess what? If you say too much, I will delete it. I will. I'm emotional, man. But man, y'all like, share, subscribe, man. If you're interested in astrological readings whatsoever, you can either hit me up in the comments below, or you can email me at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. Hey, I appreciate all the love and support. Y'all keep it true till next time. That's all I'm going to do.